Tim, thanks again for joining me for our next Thought Leadership Spotlight series. I'm your host, Matt Camp, with the head of partnerships for DealMachine. On these, we really like to shine a spotlight on industry experts and these thought leaders that can share their inspiring stories and really educate our audience on lessons that they learned and how they really got to where they are today. So today I'm excited to say we have Tim Randle. He's been investing in real estate since the early 90s, left corporate life as being a CPA and financial analyst in 2000 to really become a full-time real estate investor. So we're going to hear about that today and his inspiring story there. In 2002, he launched what would become REIClub.com, which is an online educational site that really teaches others on how to invest in real estate. So everyone listening to this, make sure you check out there. It's a phenomenal educational resource in the industry. REI Club has become his main focus, and became that after that, where you've really come to work on your business from home and be very present in family life, with which for me, I can really relate to that and really find that very admirable with, I've got two boys at home and a new baby girl too. So trying to do the same over here, but it sounds like you still invest in real estate and now work at making REI Club a really valuable resource for investors, which I wholeheartedly agree. So I would love to kind of start there and talk about, I know REIClub.com, like you guys really talk about the meaning of one deal away and what that means to other people and what that can result in, and even your personal story on that. So I'd love to really talk with you today about that type of stuff. But you want to say hi to everyone first?
All right. Hi, and thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's good to get out and share information with others and hopefully provide some value.
Yeah, that's great. And to kind of begin with, like I mentioned, you really talk about this kind of one deal away theme. Could you maybe tell us a little bit more about what that means and what that means to you?
Sure. And I think you may hear that in the industry, but we call our tribe the unemployables, which ties into one deal away. But, we tell them that all the time. And what I think a lot of people don't realize is that one deal away has many different meanings and benefits depending on where you are in the process. Mm-hmm. So one deal away could be your first deal, where you're one deal away from actually pulling off a deal and proving to yourself that you can do it. It could be, one deal away from quitting your job. It could be one deal away from replacing your income. It could be one deal away from doing a different type of deal or doing more deals per month, where, normally you pull off one deal a month and now you're pulling off 2 or 3. So it's kind of a trigger phrase. And it also could be, you could be one deal away from doing a goal type deal. So like the next deal I'm going to do, I'm going to take that trip to the Caribbean. I'm going to, pay off the cars. It could be one deal away from your financial freedom deal. So depending on, like I say, so those are some of the different meanings, and it can vary by person.
For a lot of the people listening to this, I think are going to be would fall in that boat of being relatively new or a newbie in general to real estate investing. So can you kind of walk us through like how do you come to those goals? Like how do you think through one deal away and setting that for yourself as somebody new to real estate investing?
Okay. Well, I think what you're asking is like what are some of the different benefits?
Yeah, like what's the why behind it? Like what are the end what are the end benefits of trying to do that? Mm-hmm.
Okay, so depending on where you were, if you're like me, where you were working a corporate job or you're working, and you're one deal away from potentially changing the path that your life is on. So if you know that real estate's going to play a role in your future and how you handle your finances and potentially get out of your job. Being one deal away doing that first deal can change how you view yourself. It can change your finances. It can change who you meet. And I'll come back to more of that here in a minute, but there's 3 different things just from being one deal away. Right? So, cause I think it's important. And I think, sometimes as some of us have moved on down the path, we kind of forget what it was like in the beginning stages. Like you were talking about people that are fairly new, because changing your self-esteem and the way you view yourself is important, but also changing your finances. So say that you do your first wholesale deal, you have one deal away and you get $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. That's a huge deal if you add an extra $3,000, $5,000 to the month that you didn't have before.
No kidding.
If you do a rehab deal where all of a sudden now you're talking 20, 30, 40, 50,000, those chunks of cash are huge. And in my opinion, life-changing. I definitely remember what it was like getting a paycheck, and it was really sweet getting a paycheck, although all the things you had to do to get the paycheck weren't so great. But the chunks of cash are just huge. And like I said, I mentioned earlier, you may meet somebody on the next deal that becomes the contractor. For me, I met a contractor that I worked with for many deals after that. You might meet your private, a private lender that funds a lot of your deals. You might meet, in my case, I was trying to sell a property, met someone who later became friends and became partners in another business where we were doing deals together. So anyway, so I just wanted to share those. That the next deal, you're one deal away from X. It could be something really cool and important.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
But as far as my story, I was kind of slow and what I would call a little bit chicken. So I kind of went through several phases of one deal away. My wife and I had recently gotten married. I was a numbers guy. We knew we wanted to invest in real estate, and we saved up money. We bought a duplex, and this was long before house hacking was even a term. But we had our tenants next door, and we, like I say, we had invested in real estate, but we didn't really feel like real estate investors. We were there for a few years, had our first son, and felt like we were kind of cramped. And so we started looking for a house. So we're thinking to ourselves, okay, now we're one deal away from, actually having a rental property, as opposed, because it didn't really feel like a rental property when our tenants were 7 steps away from our front door.
Right.
So we bought our house, and now we had a rental property. We kept the duplex, and same type of thing. I was slow to continue. We knew we wanted to be real estate, involved in real estate, but we weren't sure how at the time. So we had our rental property. It sort of felt like real estate and being real estate investors because, we had this rental property, but we had lived there. So it didn't really have the full, feeling of, oh, we bought this property just to be a rental property. So I started studying, reading more books, going online, going to our local real estate club, and learning more about real estate investing. I was working 50 to 60 hours a week as a CPA financial analyst. Had 2 kids under 3, I think, by then or so. And at that point, we're one deal away from being an intentional real estate investor. I pulled out an old Carlton Sheets course, if you're familiar with that. Read through it again. It said, do this, do this, do this. So I decided on the weekend, I'm going to do that. Basically, it was contact landlord ads in the, that people that were listing their place for rent, and see if they're willing to consider selling on payments. So I did that. And within the first 5 calls, I found someone who said, yes, come see me. And within an hour of making the decision that I was going to do this, I had the first deal signed up. I was like, oh, well, that was pretty dang easy. So the next weekend I said, well, let's see if I can do the next deal, And same thing, it took a few more phone calls that weekend, but it was still that same day. Within a matter of hours, I was at somebody else's house, signing up their house. So now I've kind of gone through the one deal away phase where I invested in real estate, had a rental property, became a real estate investor, and proved that this is doable. The problem is that I'm doing real estate in the mornings, at my lunch break, in the evenings, on the weekends.
The grind.
And I was already working 50, 60 hours a week, and sometimes traveling with the CFO of our company. And this continued for the next 12 to 18 months, where I'm doing 1 to 2 deals a month. I'm still learning, studying. But the issue is, and kind of like what we talked about before, I'm a little bit one of those weirdos that I knew from an early age, the 2 things I really wanted to do were to be a good husband and a good father. So here I am doing 60, 70, 80-hour weeks. I'm not being a good husband. I'm not being a good father. And so this stuff, I'm trying to build for the future, but at the same time, I'm having lots of kind of emotional issues with it. And at the time, there was this song by Paula Cole called I Don't Want to Wait, which was just eating me up. It was on the radio all the time. And I don't know if are you familiar with that song?
Spoke to you. No, but yeah, music's powerful. No, yeah.
But basically, some of the lyrics were, I don't want to wait till it's over. Will the son grow to know his father? I don't want to do what his father and his father and his father did. And the song, of course, is not about me, but I made it about me because all these lyrics are jabbing me every time I'm going to work.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the way it will be continued for a while. And, you know, I'm doing my job. I'm doing real estate on the side, and I don't see a way out. You know, I'm one deal away from quitting my job, but I don't have the vision to see how to do that, because I had a pretty decent, cushy corporate job. You know, we bought the nice house. We had a couple of nice cars, and I'm not doing the business well enough and consistent enough to figure out how I'm one deal away. So I'm still attending events, and all this is kind of building up and building up. And at one of these events in Atlanta, I don't recall what the speaker said, but the speaker said something that triggered something inside me, and I just lost it. I was like getting all choked up and teary, and I had to leave before I started kind of bawling. I go outside by myself, and a couple of friends came out after me to see what was going on because my behavior was a little bizarre. And the three of us decided, David Alexander, if you happen to see this, thank you. Stephanie, thank you. But the three of us decided, after talking through this, that after I had 2 deals signed up that were net me $20K each, then I would turn in my notice, which this was scaring the crap out of me, but at least I had a plan. And the plan was, all you have to do to become a full-time real estate investor is risk everything that you've built up to that point. So anyway, continuing on, we go back, and I don't recall what the first deal, I signed up the first deal fairly quickly. I don't recall what it is. It didn't have the significance until I was just 1 deal away. But I definitely remember the quit your job deal. So I happened to go out on an appointment during lunch. I met this lady her house was on Caddo Street in Austin, Texas. We hit it off, and another real estate investor had been there just before I had, like 30 minutes before.
Yeah.
And as I was leaving, she said, I'll tell you what, she said, I want to work with you. I said, that sounds great. I'll get the paperwork and we'll put it together. And she said, but I want you to know that someone just offered me $7,000 more right before you got here. But they were talking all this win-win bullshit, and it just sounded phony to me. So I like you, and you seem genuine, so let's do the deal. So I go to the car, and I'm like, I'm barely can contain myself because I know this is my quit my job deal. Anyway, I get it signed up, and on the way back to work, I roll down my windows and I'm screaming my head off because, I mean, like I say, I've had lots of months of build up. Right. I'm screaming and tearing up, and Katrina and the Waves. I'm walking on sunshine was on. I can't sing. It didn't matter. I'm screaming that song at the top of my lungs all the way back. I get back to work, and I'm so hoarse, like I can literally barely talk because I screamed and sang so loud all the way back to work. This was October 11th of 2000, and turned in, you know, I only had to turn in 2 weeks notice, but I've been there for several years and, you know, liked everybody I worked with. So I gave them a month's notice. So it turns out that my quit day happened to be Veterans Day of 2000. So, you know, it's one of those things that every Veterans Day, you know, I'm very thankful for those that served and are serving, but it's also a reminder to me that what we're doing, helping other people improve their financial lives, is really important, and, you know, that it matters. One of the things that I think is also really cool is that on 11/11/11, that was my 11th year of freedom from the corporate world. So anyway, so that's kind of a short version of my story of how I went through several different stages of 1 deal away, and how each one, you know, was impactful and something to look forward to. And that's why I think it's important that we're always letting people know you're 1 deal away, whatever that may mean to you.
That's incredible. Thank you again for sharing that story. I mean, I think, you know, anyone new to this that is struggling with making that jump is going to find that to be, a motivator. Like, I think there's so many things you can take from that too. Like, even hearing your friends helping be, accountable, or being accountability partners almost, and saying like, hey, we're going to help you jump off that ledge, even though it's scary like that, to show you that you can do this, and to help you make that jump and change your life for the better. So, do you have any other, I know we're, we'll have to wrap up here in a minute. Do you have any other kind of, additional parting advice for newbies who are struggling through this and are maybe going through the same thing you were, and are looking for, for courage to take that next step?
Well, I think I think some of it comes down to personality types and who you surround yourself with. So I was, and still am, very analytical, methodical, but all the real estate investors that I was associated with were very much ready, fire, aim. So in fact, I have a new friend in the last few years who's always pushing me, because like, just jump off the cliff with me. We'll build the parachute on the way down. It's like, I'm not suggesting that.
Yeah.
I don't, but I understand that philosophy is there. I think it's a balance of getting educated and then taking the action. Because I think so many people mess that up. They either take action too soon when they really don't know what they're doing, and then they can actually set themselves back because they didn't know what they're doing. And then there's plenty of people that are just learning, and never actually putting it into action. So
Yep.
I think that's important.
Yeah, we really subscribe to that too. Like, I think, if you're watching this video, hopefully you're starting to really educate yourself around real estate, and you're, even within the DealMachine app, or consistently giving people, webinars and all kinds of resources to help them educate themselves. REI Club is another example of a great place to go to continue to educate yourself. And, the goal is, like you said, you got to take action on this knowledge. You got to get out there and start to have conversations with property owners, start to figure out how to make things happen. And that momentum will give you confidence. And, especially if you can surround yourself with other people who maybe have complementary skills and maybe can encourage you this way or another, those are all great places to start. So, Tim, I thank you for telling us that story. I mean, I love that we can share that out with our network, and inspire people that way. How can people get in touch with you, or obviously they should check out REI Club, but tell me, more about how they can, keep in touch with you.
Okay. Well, I mean, the primary way would be just go to reiclub.com. We do have a Facebook group as well called The Unemployables that we're just building out now. And, I definitely want to say, Matt, I appreciate you and the team at DealMachine helping us get the word out. That's very nice. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we love teaming up in general. Like, we very much subscribe to the take action and educate yourself. So we love teaming up with people who are giving world-class education, and we want to be an action step for them. We want, our technology to help people have the courage to go out there and start driving around and looking for deals, and start talking to people, and start to make things happen. So, Tim, thanks again for coming on, and excited to share this one with our world.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.